I am Dennis Ojue, a senior journalist in this country. At least I have been around covering the elections since 1996. And at least as far as elections concerned, I have seen it all. Now, on the manifestos, I have seen many manifestos from 1996 to date, and manifestos of all categories: Lo- local leaders, national leaders, up to the presidency. Now, the issue of the manifesto in Uganda, as far as our governance is concerned, I would call it completely rubbish. Rubbish in the sense that politicians lay manifestos and it isn't implemented to the dot. Two, you find the manifestos tend to curtail, tend to be customized to almost a similar issue. The manifesto is just there to deceive Ugandans. That you see, if you elect me, if you put me into power, I'll do A, B, C, D. Three, the manifestos do not target a pursuable agenda. Say, candidates for the presidency in their various manifestos, you find that some of them, for instance, come and they say, okay, if you vote me into power, I'll build Gulu to an international airport. I'll put tarmacs on the road. In summary, there's a lot of promises, promising heaven and earth, something which cannot be done. It isn't doable, which means if it's, if it's for somebody pursuing to become the president, does not seem to know why he or she would become the president. And you might think they are not aware of the constitutional role of what the president does. Does the president build an airport anyway? Does the president tarmac road anyway? That is at the level of the president. Just one or two samples. Now, at the level of members of parliament, the people's own votes. You see, in Uganda now, at all levels, there's a general focus towards getting money. Money is the dance tune. Therefore, it makes whatever manifesto which is put there, it is just laid there. But money is the issue. People would like to vie for positions to get into parliament because they think it is a business. It is commerce, it is business. When they get to the parliament, they are just focusing at the money. Now, members of parliament forget that they are messengers sent by the local population to go and pursue a task, to rebuild their area, to move their motions, to drum their voices into the parliament, so that at least service delivery is done with a lot of equity down on the ground. People at the grassroots do not get any value from our elected leaders. Here I can generalize. Even councillors, members of parliament, even chairpersons of the district, actually for the MPs are even worse.
But Mr. Dwe, why is it that now the voters are not questioning them?
Good. You see, the voters, what I hear, people say, okay, before you go to parliament, you give us our share first. Let us eat. Let us get something from you first. No. But what is that something? Sometimes I get so much disturbed that our people in the villages are fighting for coins. 200 shillings coin, 500 shillings coin, 1,000 notes. There are very many politicians who move in bags. In the bags, there are coins, backed coins, and 1,000. If you are very lucky, you will get a note of 2,000. Now, at the end of it all, after the campaigns, you hear now our people, the ones you are asking that they should ask these people, they don't have the power to ask them because for them they think the moment they have been left with 10,000, 5,000, 1,000, is a deal. It's a deal done for them.
So do you think there is
See?
enough civic education now?
I don't think I don't think our National Electoral Commission, okay, uh, civil education is supposed to be done by other stakeholders. Like, for instance, the human rights focus, those human rights defenders, human rights activists are supposed to help conduct civic education. You find the National Electoral Commission throws them up, including civic education. But now, civic means teaching. I would reduce the word to teaching. Our people are not being taught on the usefulness of voting. First of all, what is voting? If you vote, what will be the result? What will be the effect if you don't go to vote? But now, our people, I think, are tired because even if you vote somebody into the parliamentary seat, okay, the person goes and remain there. They concoct issues there. They do not draw back. They do not come back to our people to ask. I wouldn't love to call names here, but there are some politicians here in our districts here who, at least from time to time or once in a while, would come and hold public rallies. Okay? I saw many public rallies at Kaunda ground. I saw public I saw public rallies at Kaunda ground, at some bomber grounds, where some local politicians, okay, would come back after some time, hold public rallies. In the public rallies, at least it would be useful for you to sort for views from the local population. Okay? Say if the budget is about to be passed, some 3, 4, or even 6 months. That okay. In 4 or 5 or 6 months, the parliament would be getting into budgeting. What would you people think? What do you people think should actually appear in the national budget? For instance, I'm just citing as an example. Now, if they would do that, at least they would come and collect views from our local people. But because they don't come, and our people are also naive. Okay, I would say our people are naive. They think they are powerless, and yet they hold a lot of power into their hands like an egg. The voters have got a lot of power. So, as you ask, if civic education was adequate, our people would know their mandate, their constitutional mandate. I'm aware that the constitution even warrants the voters to even call back the leaders that they have elected. If they are non-performing, they would collect a lot of signatories, uh, uh, getting up to about two-thirds of the majority, and they would petition, and they would pull out the leaders they had elected if he or she is non-performing. But we find that this is not being done. Why? Partly, I think, as you said, it is due to lack of civic education. Our people do not know that they have a lot of constitutional powers into their hands. Right, right from the parliament up to the district, even up to the chairman, AC1, the local council, up to the local council. Today, I am reminding Ugandans that look, Ugandans, you have a lot of constitutional mandate to call down, to to remove power, to hijack power from the persons you had elected that you think they are non-performing. They are not presenting your views. They are not representing you into the parliament. Call them back. You have got the powers to call them back.
Thank you.
Lastly, let me, even if you did not ask me, another nightmare to me is the biggest nightmare in Uganda. Sometimes I would think there is no governance in Uganda. Sometimes I think there is no democracy in Uganda. Sometimes I get embarrassed. When you see the level of vote buying, vis-a-vis vote rigging, these two, corruption has gone so much into our political atmosphere. Pluralism in Uganda was good, but I don't think pluralism is good anymore because people would like to get into power through buying votes, rigging votes. Okay? And our people have gone foolish to the level that just a coin of 200 shillings, 500 shillings changes your mind. Even when the voters are already on the queue, lining up to go and vote, somebody still passes money, and money changes. By the time somebody gets into the basin to vote, someone could have gone to vote for Okelo. By the time the person reaches the basin, somebody goes for Okot. Why? Because Okot has sanctioned money in there. Now, I don't know how this is going to be eradicated in our country, Uganda. If God doesn't have a hold our country, then our country has really gone into the dogs policy. I'm not abusing anyone, but dogs here, I mean, they irresponsible leaders. I'm not abusing any leader, but you see, so long as we continue doing this, then we are going to have irresponsible leaders. And that's why Uganda does not sometimes remain very stable politically. So may we refrain from the act of vote buying and vote rigging. Then, because even if they give you 1 kilogram of sugar, what is 1 kilogram of sugar? So don't allow anyone to be playing about with your mind because your vote is very valid. But of course, I think Ugandans are tired. I repeat, Ugandans are tired because they no longer see any tangible result, any good fruits of voting. In Uganda, statistics show that by the time of election, sometimes less than a half of the population of registered voters in our country do not go to vote. Very small percentage go to vote. The so-called electorates, people you see, they are the elite. Elites are even worse. They don't go to vote. Now they leave the voting to our local people who may reason, but because they do not know the constitutional mandate, their level will stop there. Yes, they might be the majority of those who go to vote, but now we who understand things, we do not go to vote. So when and how can we then vote for quality leaders?